Hello again, I'm Doug Smith, and welcome to the 8 September 2017 edition of Portsmouth This Week. We're here at the new DOT facility right off Route 24, and I've got Charles St. Martin, who is the Public Relations Director, I believe, of DOT, and Joe Bucci from DOT. I guess you're in charge kind of this facility.
Division of Highway and Bridge Maintenance.
Oh, okay, great. Anyway, we're going to get a quick look around the new facility, which I think is very impressive, particularly if any of you know what the old facility looks like. Okay, Joe, this is a beautiful facility you have here, and I guess my main question is, what is the purpose of this big facility here?
The purpose of this is to replace the old facility. That's the obvious thing. That facility is a lot older than I am. I can't tell you when it was built, but it was had a lot of deficiencies in it. We couldn't keep our equipment inside. And it wasn't energy efficient. So we've made some major improvements. We've given the guys the space that they need to house all of our equipment indoors, keep it out of the weather. I'm sure if you drove past the old one, you saw all of the equipment outside and in the weather, and that's not good for it. So this was a long time coming, and we're finally in and very happy to be in. Okay,
now you guys use this to store vehicles.
Yes.
That you use. I also noticed there's a big pile of sand out there. I guess that's in prep for the coming winter.
For winter, yes.
What else do you do here?
This is where the main operations for all of Aquidneck Island, basically the Newport County, with the exception of Jamestown. Every maintenance operation, from grass cutting to drainage cleaning, snow removal, litter pickup, anything, pothole patching, anything on roads in this area or in their district, this is where the main operation is based out of.
Now, I noticed from just looking at some of the data that this building is like 5 times larger than the old one. It's a very impressive space here. Mm-hmm. Do you have people that are permanently assigned to this area?
Yes. Yes, all of them. There's about 20 people, and we're hoping to add more. Okay,
and they primarily work on Aquidneck Island, Tiverton, Bristol, places like that?
Correct.
Okay, that's great to know we got our own guys here.
Yes.
Especially, you know, we're looking at what's happening down in Florida and what happened in Houston. And we're not immune to storms, as we all know. So I think it's comforting for me to know that you got stuff right here on the island, so you don't have to try to worry about the bridges being closed.
Right.
I was reading about this building, and it's got a lot of other special features that you never had before. Mm-hmm. Things like, I guess there's energy efficiency built into the building. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. We tried to build the building as closely as possible to make it a LEED building. Unfortunately, being a garage, it's impossible to get LEED certification. But we followed as closely as possible LEED guidelines. So
what is LEED? I'm sorry.
It's environmentally efficient building. So we have the septic system here, for an example, is a environmentally friendly one. It's a recirculating sand filter. So basically the effluent gets treated before it goes into the water. There's stormwater pre-treatment. So any rainwater and stuff that comes on site gets pre-treated before it goes into the ground. We've got LED lighting. We tried to utilize, as you can see in the main garage bay area, the skylights, and we tried to use as much natural light as possible. The building itself, the panels are insulated panels. It's water efficient toilets and high efficiency HVAC. So, you know, there's a lot of things that was put into it with being as environmentally conscious as possible.
Yeah, well, I think that's a great, laudable goal. I guess the you know, I'm looking at the structure inside here, and I just wondered, was this built to any kind of a weather standards or something like 100-year hurricanes or anything like that? Because I'm not sure what the walls are made out of, but I think, you know, 100-something miles an hour of wind would probably do some damage.
It was built to Rhode Island building code, and based on the area, there's wind loads and things that we had to build to. So yes, being so close to the ocean and in a high wind zone, it's all built to whatever code requirements there are.
Yeah, well, it's an impressive facility. Can we maybe take a look around?
Sure.
Okay, let me just introduce Don Anicelli.
Yes.
He's the supervisor here. Poor guy lives in Johnson, so he's got to cross bridges to get here. So you must know this place inside and out. I imagine you were here from day one.
Yes.
When this was put together.
There's a lot of this building put into it.
I understand you had chainsaws and other stuff stored in your office over
Yes,
there.
there was the other roof was leaking, so we needed a place to secure stuff, keep it dry. We have a poisonous gas detection unit we use in the manholes. Very expensive little piece of equipment. Check for methane gas and other things you're not supposed to breathe. Cordless toolkits, chainsaws.
Yeah, and it's all sitting in your office because that's the only dry space in the building.
Yeah.
Well, as I say, I think you got plenty of storage here. You must be delighted about that.
It's a pleasure coming to work every day.
You know, and it's all nice and clean and everything. I encourage people to drive by the old facility just to see where you guys are coming from.
Yeah.
Because I think that this thing is so great. You know, I'm looking around here. I see a rental truck over here from United Rentals. It looks like one of either a water haul or
Yes.
liquid.
Yeah, water for sweeping. The other trucks we had, they were old. They were 17 years old, and just due to the nature of the truck, spraying salt brine in the winter, they just rotted away. So the new trucks are coming in.
Yeah.
So we have a rental truck to replace that.
And they'll be nice and protected in here from,
Yes.
from the weather and stuff.
Yeah, I worked out of headquarters for about 12 years. Everything was inside at headquarters. When I came here, I was wondering why the arrow boards, we all got them at the same time. Over here, they were rotted from sitting outside. Just a mist from the ocean. You know,
Sure.
that salt water mist on it continuously took its toll on them.
Yeah, it does that.
Yeah.
Let me get back, Joe, if I could, to you about the cost of the building and things like that. I mean, this is a huge facility.
Mm-hmm.
How much did it cost, and where did the money come from?
So the total cost from design through construction, including utilities and everything, is around $7 million, start to finish. That's all in. Some of it was bond money from years ago, and then a portion was from roadworks. So we were able to, it was on the drawing board for a long time, and finally we were able to secure the total funding to do it, and you know, here we are standing in a nice new building today.
So just to clarify for me, roadworks is the overall plan, I guess, of rehabbing all our infrastructure around Rhode Island?
Right.
It includes funding for facilities like this too.
Yeah.
So
it was a priority that was made amongst
Right.
other priorities.
Yeah.
So the general idea is if we're going to be investing money in our infrastructure, we have to maintain what we build. So in order to do that, an increase in not only maintenance staffing and equipment, but given the people that are out on the roads, the ones that you guys see every day, giving them the space and the equipment and tools that they need to do that job.
Yeah, I think it's, and Rhode Island is not necessarily unique in infrastructure issues, bridges and things like
Right.
that, but I think I'm delighted that people finally decided to put some money into this. You know, it's not a glamorous thing, but it's something that's really needed.
Well, through the road, as he mentioned, through the roadworks program, we're talking about $4.7 billion of investment in the state in over a 10-year time frame. That huge investment, we got to maintain it because we don't want to be here 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Being in the same situation because we didn't have the proper facilities to keep our trucks and equipment from rotting out. Instead of wasting money on those older facilities, and then having the ability to expand to have enough so we can get to the repairs faster. We have enough more bodies on the ground.
Yeah. Can I ask you, how many vehicles can you store in here? Just a ballpark.
I think it was about 25 that we figured, but we have our tractors on trailers, and the guys go out during the day, they take the trailer with them. And we'll park some stuff in the middle.
In the middle, sure.
So we just leave the keys and everything, so if it has to be moved.
Yeah.
So all total, this district has about 30 pieces of equipment, which that includes winter trucks, grass mowing tractors, any trailer equipment, compressors, everything they need to do their work is about 30 pieces of equipment, including the pickup trucks and all of that. So
Well, you know, as a Portsmouth resident and somebody who lives on an island, I'm delighted that you guys have, that somebody up at the state finally decided to spend some money to help us down here. So I really appreciate the fact that you guys are here in a big way.
Yeah, and as you can tell, the guys that have been in the old Portsmouth facility
well, that's
for
good,
many
'cause
years
now
are
you
also
know-
delighted to be here.
Appreciate it
So.
more, you know? The old building was dark. Our mechanic with the 10-wheeler wouldn't fit in the building, so repairs in the wintertime had to be made outside. Or if the truck was, we could move the truck down to headquarters, we would take it to Warwick to work on it, or
Yeah.
if it had to be towed out, it would be towed out to the
Yeah.
repair shop. But now, if things go wrong in the wintertime, hydraulic lines, lights are out, you know, it's comfortable to work. You're not working in the middle of a snowstorm.
Yeah.
or-
Well, no, like I say, it makes a lot of sense to do this.
And with regard to the mechanic, if you look around, you'll see piping. So there's tanks and stuff. So that the oil distribution, any hydraulic fluids, any fluids for the vehicles are now all sealed, and they're in tanks along the walls, and it's pumped. So there's hoses that actually do it. There's no more open containers.
Yeah.
Everything is contained.
Yeah.
Waste oil goes. There's a dedicated spot for waste oil that can get pumped out, and so that was all. Also
Now
all
what is the
figured
big
in.
white tank in front? Gas?
That's
Gasoline?
Fuel island.
fuel. Yeah, that's
Fuel.
Yeah,
diesel
gas
and gasoline.
It kind of looked like a propane tank, but
No,
I saw the signs on it for fuel and diesel, I guess, gas and diesel.
right.
So you guys are pretty much then, in the case of a hurricane rolling through, you guys are pretty self-contained.
Correct.
Uh,
Yeah, there's a on-site generator, so if they lose power in the area, the building will still
Yeah.
have power to operate.
Now, let me ask you another question. How do you guys coordinate or relate to our own Department of Public Works? You know, Dave Kehoe and Brian Woodhead and those guys.
Don can respond to that better, but I can tell you that not just with this district, but all of our districts have, the superintendents and foremen have very good working relationships with the municipality.
So you guys do talk to each other.
Oh,
That's-
absolutely,
That's
yeah.
what I wanted to hear, you know?
Yep.
I'm continuously on the phone with Brian. There's always something to talk about with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Bristol, the same thing. Warren, I have everybody's phone number, so if something's going on, I'll let them know ahead of time.
Yeah,
So if there's something wrong in our area, I'll let them know we'll be working in a certain location. So if they have any operations to change, the fire departments, police departments,
yeah.
everybody's informed.
And it's nice too. I mean, Rhode Island being Rhode Island, it's that relationship between state and municipality is very good. There's a lot of mutual aid that goes on, and that's dealt with at the district level.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, that's what I would think, because it makes more sense to do it that way.
It's not that I never get calls from public works directors, but for the most part, that working relationship between superintendent and public works
Yeah.
director is very good.
You know, I don't know if Portsmouth is unique in this regard, but it seems like the DOT roads and the town roads are so intermingled here. It's hard to tell, you know,
Yeah, and a
who
lot
does
of,
what.
Right, and a lot of the public, they might see a concern with a street light or a pothole, and, you know, they're not quite sure,
Yeah.
you know, whose
So who should they
jurisdiction-
contact?
Jurisdiction. is.
Their own DPW or?
Well, if it's a main, I mean, if it's usually a main, it's not always the case, but a main highway, I mean, certainly Route 24, for main thoroughfares, numbered routes, you know, typically tend to be the states, not always, but typically are.
Yeah.
I mean,
And,
especially the small neighborhoods and cul-de-sacs and things like that, you know, most likely gonna be town.
And sometimes, most of the time, if there's an issue on a main tight road, we have a 24/7, 365 transportation management center, or the TMC as we call it. So a lot of calls will go into there, and they know what roads are ours and what aren't, and if someone calls in, they may notify Public Works for the caller. So,
Okay. Now, is there a number that people can reach?
We maintain, I mean, it's a 24/7 operation. We do have customer service staff that can address questions from the public.
Okay.
You know, during normal working hours. That's 222-2450. 222-2450.
2450.
Right, and then off-peak, you know, especially if it's something more of an emergency nature.
Yeah.
Certainly, people can call the local police department if they see something really concerning.
Yeah.
But if they see something in the road, especially the Peel, it's a state road, 222-2378.
222-2378 is
right, and that would be the kind of the off-hour, night,
okay.
weekend kind of
Okay.
situations.
Why don't we can we just take a walk around and maybe you could?
Sure. Okay, this is the new mechanic bay. This is a major improvement over the old facility. As you can see, we have a lift that it can handle our lighter fleet. We can't put a 10-wheel dump truck or one of the bigger trucks up on this, but for the lighter fleet vehicles, the zero-turn mowers, we can put them up on the lift and they give easier access for the mechanic.
Sure.
In the old building, it was an old mechanic pit, which, you know, among other things, there were safety concerns with that. So this is a big step in that regard. And then along the wall, you see the yellow containers, those tanks, that has all of the oils and hydraulic fluids that are necessary for the equipment that is in here. So if we need to add oil, change oil, make a hydraulic line repair, that can all be done in-house, and all the fluids are there, and it's pumped through hoses by type, and it's metered through those hoses. Instead of having open containers everywhere, our waste oil is now contained in a dedicated unit, and it used to be barrels in the old facility. And when that gets close to being filled, we have waste haulers that'll come in and pump that out and get rid of it. So
I notice you have bollards, those yellow with the red striped bollards. Is that just for safety for trucks and things moving around?
Yeah, and you know, I mean, it's a garage. There's big equipment moving in here all the time.
Yeah.
So the bollards are just to protect those tanks so that they don't get hit and damaged and leak through the building.
Now, how about the roof and the walls? Are those made out of, they're metal, I guess? Are they?
It's a metal skin with a insulated foam interior.
Okay.
And they're very durable, they're very strong. I know it doesn't sound like it is, but when they had pieces that were here, if you look at it, if you try to punch it, it's not going to make a dent in the building. They're very strong and secure.
Yeah, I think you can kind of see what the foam looks like on the ceiling, if that's the
spray that on.
That's special stuff.
Right. But inside of the panels is.
But in the pan it was like a sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about
You'd
4
have
inches thick.
metal on both sides,
Yeah.
and then inside. If you look at a cross section, you'd actually see the insulation.
Okay, you want to go outside and take a look?
Sure.
Okay. All right, so you got a gigantic yard out here, and I assume that, for example, when you guys get salt,
Yes.
are we going to see a big pile out there with salt on it as well?
Initially, for this coming winter, you'll see a pile of salt that will get covered. And it does seem like there's a lot of property over here, but it's really not. We're going to be putting a salt storage building so that this facility now, for years, the pile has been uncovered. We're going to cover that so that the material salt will get delivered undercover, and all the trucks will be loaded undercover.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense with salt for sure.
Yeah, and then on the side of the building there are some 5,000-gallon tanks. Those tanks will hold our winter liquids, and in this case they'll be holding salt brine. At this time we do not have a salt brine maker at this garage, but this is one of the areas, and we've put provisions underground for water feeds to a brine maker for this facility down the road.
Okay.
So the first thing that will come, you'll see the salt storage building. That'll go up before, and then further down the road, once the salt is here and it's covered and everything, we'll try to get a brine machine out here.
Yeah, now I would assume that before the winter or before storms and things like that, you guys load up on all the supplies and the
Yes.
fuel and everything else you'd possibly need for that. You know, does all this come from, like, I know you're from Providence, right? Are you
Yes.
from
Warwick.
Warwick,
Yeah.
yeah. So is all this kind of centrally located? You know, does somebody at your level figure this stuff out and move supplies?
Yeah,
How does that
the
work?
supplies are ordered through what we refer to as headquarters. Our main maintenance headquarters is in Warwick.
Yeah.
And as Don needs material, whether it be salt, sand, that order gets placed in Warwick, and then we contact our distributor and they make the deliveries that he needs here.
Okay. Charles, I appreciate the tour of your facility here.
Glad you guys come.
I just wanted to ask you something else about DOT. I noticed in the paper yesterday that you're starting the demolition of the old bridge on the Sakana River. Can you talk briefly about that? Like, how does it start? It sounds like they start on the top and take layers off.
Right. What you'll see happening now as you drive by, starting at the end of this week, next week, they're starting to cut out sections of the old deck, and they'll be lifting them off in pieces, in large slabs, and then trucking them off from the top.
Okay, where do they take that stuff?
The concrete actually gets pulverized and gets reused as process mix for other construction
Okay, and
projects.
there's some facility that does that.
Right, there's a couple different ones that that goes to. And the steel can be, the contractor's getting the steel, and most likely it'll be salvaged for scrap.
Okay, I guess the other question is there going to be any major impact on the traffic on the new bridge?
No, we're what you see out there is pretty much the limitation. There's some barriers on the right side of 24 South. That's how the trucks enter in and out of the construction area.
Okay.
So it could be a brief shutdown of a lane when they come in and out, but for the most part, 24 hours a day, there's really no traffic.
And do you plan to continue doing this during the winter? Or,
yeah, they're going to work through the winter if they can, as much as they can. The work will take them into next year. It should finish up next spring.
Okay.
And then we have a second contract. We decided to split this into two contracts because we are going through the environmental permitting process. It's a long, involved process for that. And we wanted to get the project started, so we split the project into two. They're doing all of the superstructure, which is all the deck and all the steel that you see above the water. And then we'll come back most likely in the following year with another contract that will remove all the concrete that's in the water, all the footings and the piers that support it underneath.
Okay, it sounds like a major operation.
Yeah, that could be another. We haven't made a total decision yet, but we are looking at the explosive demolition methods like we use on the Jamestown Bridge, where it's a kind of controlled explosion to remove it quickly. But that's subject to the permit, and we're still working on that.
Okay, thanks very much.
So what's going on now is just the removal of the deck and then the steel. So over the course of the fall and the winter, the bridge will be disappearing.
Well, once again, we love to see DOT thinking about us.
Yes.
I know you guys up in Warwick and Providence have your own kind of world. Okay. Don, I want to thank you very much. You got a great facility here.
Yes.
Good luck to you. Joe, thank you for all the information.
You're very
Appreciate you
welcome.
coming down.
Thanks for
And Charles, always
Thanks,
good to
Doug.
see you.
You too.
Good talking again, and we'll see you the next time on Portsmouth This Week.